Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully installed Breeze, and here everything is successfully done, and also you are able to create some of the user, right? Right now friend, as I told you, I want to create as a multi-authentication system. That means that should be as a multi-user. So for the multi-user, I want to do and to create two user. One will be for the user, another will be for the admin. Now step by step I will show you everything with a live example. For doing this better, I want to seed some of the data in our database user table. So right now you can see when you create any new user, by default that will be as a role will be as a user, status will be as active. Now I want to create another one for the admin. So if you want to seed some of the data, how to do this work I show you. For doing this, first of all, if you go to your database and into the database, that is our seeder. By default that is one of the seeder as a database seeder.php. Now I want to create one of the new seeder. So if you want to create it, simply go here. Okay, simply go there. That means in our project terminal, into this area I want to create on the new seeder. Like here you have to write down as a php artisan and then the make seeder. Okay, make seeder. I want to create one of the new seeder for the users. So I name it as users table seeder. Okay, I name it as a user table seeder. This type of one of the seeder now I want to create. If you now click as a enter, now you can see our created successful. That means our seeder is created successful. Now if you go, that is in our database, and that is a seeder, and that is our user seeder. Okay, that I have created, and here by default one of the function as a run function. So now I want to insert some of the data in our which table. I want to insert this data in our user table. Right? So if you want to do this work, I simply name it as a DB. That means that will be as a database. Our database name here we have to add. So that means our database table name. I want to insert it in our which table. I want to insert in our user table. That is a step-by-step process. Just simply understand what exactly I am doing. Now that is our user table, and that is our user table. So DB, by this DB, I want to access that table. That is one of the query builder. I want to use it in here. That is a DB table as a user. And I want to do into our user table. Into the user table, I want to insert. So that will be one of the default function as insert function. And now by this insert, I want to insert all the data. Okay, and here when you use it as a DB, also make that sure you have to use it. Now I want to use, so that will be the use and then DB. Okay, here make that sure you add it. Great. And now that will be as a two things I want to add. One will be for the admin, but I want to put some of the note for you. That will be for the admin, and for the admin I want to take another one. So here that will be, I name that our field name like as a name. If you go to our user table, in our user table, here is the username. I have already make it as a nullable. So for the reasons I only name it. So that is our field name as a name. Okay, so for the name I want to do for here, I want to insert on the name as a admin. Okay, so that will be for our admin, all the data I want to insert. And also better I copy it. Right now multiple field, I want to add some of the demo data. So I simply paste it. Okay, I want to add that name. I want to add that as a username, and username I want to insert as just as admin, and then I want to use as email, and then email I want to use it as a admin@gmail.com. For education purpose I'm using it. And also another one as email, and then password. For the password also you have to make it change as a hash password. I make it as a password, and for the password I want to make it as a hash password, because here when it will be inserted it should be as a hash password, right? So if you want to use it, if you go to our auth and into the register, here that should be, you can see that is one of the hash. I want to access it, so I better copy it. And now here I want to also support it. I support this hash, because by this hash I want to change it. So I want to simply change that password. So that will be as a hash. First of all, that will be the hash, and then a make. Okay, hash make will be right now for education purpose. I want to add as a 111. This type of one of the password. When you make it as a 11, it's when it should be stored. That means it should be insert this data in our user table. In our password field, it should be make this password. That means that is one of the 11. It should be make it as a hash password. Okay, so by this hash automatically that will be make it as a hash password. Great. I want to add our another field, phone and photo, that is all that our nullable field. So here if they have no data, it will be totally fine. I only want to do and to add that our role and status. So now if you want to add it, now I name it as a role, and role I want to do and to make it as a, that will be as a admin role. Okay, because here I have already discussed about that things with you. That should be two of these different type of role. One will be rather than as an admin role, another will be as a ad user, right? Now I want to do also want to update our another field as a status, the status field, and status field here also I make it as a by default that will be as a active. So better also I want to do to make it as a active. Okay, great. So friend, this portion will be for our admin, and now I want to also insert another data. Better I copy it and here I paste it. So that will be for the user. I make it as a user, and for the user I also want to do the same things. I name it as a user. Okay, user, whatever the name actually you choose, that is all that our database field, and that will be our inserted all the data. Okay, now that is our user. I name it, our username will be as a user, and also want to make it as a user @gmail.com. this type of the name, and password will be the same as a 111. Whatever the value you want to add, you can actually add it, and role will be obviously as a user, right? Great. Now that is our role, and status also should be as active. Here I simply updated this portion. Okay, great. So friend, that's all we have to do. Now that is our everything I have updated in our user table seeder. So now that is all that our seeder data. And also I want to update our user model. If you now go to our user, that is in our model, into the model, that is a user. Here you can see I have already updated, that means I have already added some of the another rest of field, right? As a photo field, the phone field, the role, and status. So here that is all that our fillable field. Here if you want to add all that field as a fillable, so here also you have to add all that individual field in here. Rather than you can also do one thing. So I want to do and to protect it by a different way. Here I remove it, I make it as a protected. Protected will be as a guarded. So that is one of the default function as a guarded, ARDED. Okay, guarded, and guarded will be as a empty. That means right now whatever the field you will be add, all that our field will be as a protected. Okay, by this guarded I want to make all that our field is now protected. Great. Here in our user model I simply update it, make that sure you updated it as a protected, guarded in our all. Great. So now we have to work in our factories, and if you now go to our user factory, so into the user factory now I want to add some of the fake data. Like right now that will be as a return name, the fake name will be inserted, email will be unique, and also it will be created some of the email, which is fine. Our verified, the password, that will be, everything will be just like that same. Only I want to insert some of the field data. Like if you want, you can actually want it, rather than you can also escape it. Like that is some of the phone. Okay, that is a phone. I want to insert some of the phone, and the role and status, that will be enough. I want to better copy it. Okay, I copy this one, better I copy it, and after that I want to do and to paste it. Okay, I simply paste it. Now I want to do and to take another one as a phone, and for the phone I want to insert some of the fake number. Number will be as a, if you want to access it, that will be the phone number. Okay, so this type of one of the phone number, automatically it will be generated some of the phone number, and that will be stored in our phone field. Okay, and then I want to add that our role will be the same. Here I want to insert, if you actually add that multiple data, then you can insert it. Right now I want to do, there is a role, and I want to use some of the fake number. That means here that will be as a random element. Okay, element. So that will be as a random element, and into the random element area here I want to update the two things. That will be, role will be admin, rather than that will be as a user. Okay, I simply updated both of these. And also for the status will be just like that same, by the same name. Better I copy it, and here I paste it. That is our fake, and then random our element. Random element will be rather than active or inactive, right? Active, rather than that will be as a inactive. Great. So I simply updated, rather than that will be as active, rather than that will be as inactive. That is status, and then remember token. Rest of this will be just like that, same. Okay, rest of will be same. Great. I want to save all, and now if you go here, we have to now work in our seeder, and that is our database seeder. So that is one of the by default file. Here now we have to load it. So if you want to load, better right now, that is a by default, that will be as a comment. I want to make it as a comment out. Okay, so that will be as a comment out, and here I want to access our file. So if you want to access it, then you have to access it by this, and this our name, that will be as a call, that will be call our which file, that will be call our user table seeder that I have created, right? So that is the class I want to call it. So that will be as user, okay, user table, that means users table, right? Users table and seeder. So that will be our users table seeder class. I want to simply call it. Okay, I simply call it, and then that will be in our app models and the user factory. How many data you can actually generate it? Like for education purpose, I want to use it as a 3. Okay, that means it will be created 3 of this data. Great, and then that will be create. Great. So friend, that's all you have to do. Now if you click as a save all, okay, if you click as a save all, now let's check this out. So before I have already migrate, right? I have already migrate for the reasons there is all that our data is successful. That means the database table is created, and also in our user I have already registered one of the new users. So now I want to do we have to migrate it again. Then all that our fake data will be stored in our user table, right? Make that sure you save it. I click as a save all again, and now I want to migrate. So here if you want to migrate, that will be not doing anything because I have already migrated. So if you make it as a PHP artisan and then migrate. Okay, if you make it as a PHP artisan migrate, click as a enter. Now you can see it's now showing as a nothing to migrate. So here we have to refresh this migrate. Okay, so that is also another command as a PHP artisan and migrate, and then I want to refresh this migrate. Okay, so here there is another command as a fresh. There is a fresh, and also at a time now I want to seed this data. So now that will be as a seed. So that is our command. Okay, you can see before I have used it as a PHP artisan migrate. So here it's not getting any migrations table because of all before I have already migrated all that our database table, right? So now I want to remigrate it again. So for the reasons, there is another command as a PHP artisan migrate and then the fresh. Okay, make that sure you use it as a fresh, and also whatever the seeder data I have already created, now I want to seed all the data. Okay, I want to insert all that our data. So for the reasons here, I make it as a seed. Now let's check this out. If you now click as a enter, now all the data will be as a drop first, and you can see it's migrate all that file again. Okay, now our data is totally clean. If you now go our database, you can see all the database table is successfully generated. And now if you go to our user, yes, here you can see it's now successfully insert all that our data. Right now, that is the two things is happening. Just simply understand what exactly the things I have done before. In our user table seeder, I have inserted 2 of these data. Right, that is our admin data and that is our user data. So for the reasons here, you can see that is our admin and that is our name as a user. There is a 2 of this data actually inserted from our user table seeder. So for the reasons here, you can see there is a 2 data is successfully inserted. Here I use it as a role admin, status I make it as a active, and then you can see email address I have used it as admin@gmail.com. Our previous one that I have already generated, that means before I have already registered some of the users, that is totally gone. So now that is actually inserted all the data from our user table seeder. And you can see there is email and that is our email, and now you can see there is a admin@gmail.com and email as a user@gmail.com. So that is our 2 data, right? And also again I have done another work in our user factory. Here I have already inserted some of the fake name. So here I have generated some of the fake name, fake email address, fake password, fake phone number, and the role and status. Right here in our database seeder, I have used it as a 3. That means it should be insert 3 factory data in our user table. So for the reasons, you can see there is our 2 and is inserted fake three data, that is a 1 and there is a 2 and there is a 3, and you can see it's generated some of the fake name is inserted. Username, here I didn't use any username. You can see username field I make it as empty for the reason she's making as a null, and email is automatically generated some of the fake email address, the fake password, and you can see there is a user active, and also generated another one as a admin. Okay, automatically actually generated, and you can see it's also generated some of the phone number, and that is all that our phone number. So how to do this work, friend? I hope it's very much clear to you. So here we successfully seed all that our data, and now we are able to successfully access it. Okay, so now if you want to also check it, like I want to check it by the new one, like I want to use it as a user @gmail.com, and password I have already used it. I have already said that password is which one, as a 111. Right? For the user, I have also set it as a 1. So before I have already created on the user as a user, right? So now if you also want to check it with the Udemy 1 2 3 4 5, before I have already used it, as I told you, that will be totally gone. You can see it's not working because of all, as I told you, when you fresh it, then our total migration process will be re-executed again. Now I have already inserted this data by the name as a 111. Now if you make it as a 111, now click as a login. Now that should be redirected to our dashboard. Great. And also if you want to check it by the another one as an admin, like I want to log in with our another user that I have already inserted as a admin@gmail.com. Password also I set it as a 111. Now log in. Now that should be also redirected to our dashboard, and you can see it's now successfully displayed as admin. I hope, friend, everything is very much clear to you. So now, friend, I want to do, when you log in with the admin, it should be redirected to our another page, not that our default dashboard page. Only user will be able to access that dashboard. Here I will actually load another different template, and for the admin I will load another template. Okay, when you log in with the admin, it will be redirected to our, like as the admin dashboard, and when you log in with the user, it will be redirected to the user dashboard. So how to do this work step by step in our next video, I will show you that things with a live example. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.